It is. I mean, look, the president, I think, notices it. He's trying to sell you advanced access to what he's saying, which I think is his own recognition.
We saw that. Yeah.
It's his own recognition.
Damien's got advanced access.
Oh, sure. You can follow me on the Acela back to D.C. We can wait for our access to the correspondence dinner. Just put on a tuxedo and fill a seat.
I mean, but really, it's shifted. Is he lame duck? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, certainly there were one party who thought he came in as a lame duck. He thought otherwise, but we've not heard a lot of talk about third-termism ever since. But that said, I mean, the president has proven much of what he can say can move markets, but now he has to actually make good on it. It's been hard to do that.
Well, Alex, your base case at FM before now and the end of the year is for one cut. Now, that's become obviously an out of consensus decision. I mean, and yet you're still standing by it. What do you think is going to drive the Fed in everything that's going on here with energy prices and Hormuz to cut rates before year end?
I think really it's Kevin Warsh was put in to do a job, and he's going to need to deliver on doing that job. Now, I think he has great understanding of the economy, and that obviously a hike seems to be more appropriate. It's going to be almost untenable in the political environment, particularly going into midterms, right? There's a reason why the Fed needed to be independent. It's really popular to cut rates to make money cheap so you can get elected. It's going to be really hard to withstand the political assaults. If you thought Jay Powell had it bad, just wait till it happens if Kevin Warsh were to do something the president didn't like.
Well, Alex, you just hit the nail on the head. You said he was put in office to do a job. I thought his job was to defend the efficacy of the U.S. financial system, to basically growth and inflation, employment, to do mandate. But if I'm hearing you correctly, his job was to do what President Trump wants him to do. Is that what you're implying here?
I think that's certainly the job that he was told to do. Yep. We'll see, and certainly
I don't disagree with you. I'm just asking the question to be really clear for our audience, because you're right. Is that his job to do what President Trump wants?
That seems to be why he was hand selected to do it. I mean, the president put Jay Powell back in, regretted that decision,
right?
Made very clear selection. If you look at the vetting process he went through, it was a very public sort of homage to the president. You had to start saying things. Even some commentators have no doubt come through here who you would not have expected to say some of those things as they auditioned publicly for that job. Technically, the Fed chair's boss is Congress. Yeah. However, practically, the independence sort of myth, as a friend of ours wrote a book about it, well put it, every time the Fed comes in to rescue the U.S. economy, Congress extracts some of that independence back and gives it to the political system, not just Congress itself. We're seeing that dividend now reinvested in the presidency.
Well, Alex, the markets have a funny way of throwing everything you just said on its ear. And the reason I say that is very simple. We see bond yields going up in the U.S. and across the whole of, the G10 marketplace, right? And, if the Fed were to cut in the face of, rising inflation, or, let's just say steady, or even, whatever, inflation's kind of, doesn't really go, doesn't really push higher, it's the credibility issue. And what if that just prevents people from buying U.S. Treasuries because of the credibility issue, because of the fiscal deficit? I mean, at some point, the rubber's going to meet the road, and you got to believe Trump and, Secretary Bessent are going to basically say, whoa, we need to get a hold of yields here. If that means you have to hike, maybe I'm just asking.
Yeah, certainly the president has proven the ability to pretty rapidly change
his
course
mind.
with very little remorse about that. Certainly the bond market spooked him during Liberation Day. Obviously new Liberation Day with less fanfare, fewer signs, fewer yelling at secretaries to get the small sign because of the wind this time around.
Yep.
But practically,
right.
I think the president has the ability to reverse course when expedient, just not yet expedient.
And now after the Red Sox win streak, after FIFA, before the Hungarian Grand Prix.
That's correct.
The question of the summer. Is gridlock good? I'm seeing it percolate in notes into the weekend. But I mean, it's a legitimate question. Is Alex Morris rooting for gridlock in November?
I think so. I mean, gridlock is actually a feature, not a bug of the political system we have. The idea was that we would ultimately get some amount of compromise, right? The Constitution came out of a very long series of compromises in gridlock. But practically, I think that might be the best outcome we could get.
Can I rip up the script?
Yes.
This is one of the few guests I can do this with.
Please.
It's really, really important. I did virology and biochemistry at two institutions a long time ago, okay? David Baltimore was my hero. There was this abstract thing, mRNA. We didn't know what it was. It saved lives in COVID, etc. Discuss the state of science as you see it. You have the real degree in this, real legit cred. Out of COVID, can we keep our science going as you studied at Cornell years ago?
I think certainly we're going to see a lot more advancement. There's a lot more privatization than there used to be. And I think that's maybe a little bit of a problem. Used to be science belonged to all of us, and in large academic institutions, it was free. Now there's a lot of sponsored by in a lot of buildings, a lot of places, and that's going to get hard. And I think particularly most recently in power here, there's been a very anti-academia, anti-science bend.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
That troubles me. I mean, I give a lot of institutions credit for fighting back, but it's pretty hard when most of your money comes from the government. The government says, here's how you need to behave.
Right.
Without money, the institution the academy has nothing.